Have you read, seen, or heard something like this? Gold, silver, copper, palladium, platinum, tantalum from electronic waste that you can recover, or that is what is happening. Or maybe lithium, cobalt, copper, aluminum from lithium ion batteries, or maybe precious metals from solar panel. If those are the outputs, the outcome, what do you feel or what do you think about such recovery from waste? It could be e-waste or any waste. Do you feel mesmerized, captivated, amazed to see that you can recover precious metals, critical metals from waste? Not only that, commodity from waste. And that is what we are going to look in today's video about these outputs. How authentic. We are going to do a fact check on what is being claimed and what is happening. Let's get into the video. In the previous Tech Tuesday video, as part of the 8 hours of trash technology, we saw the raw material, which is nothing but the input, and then we saw the second R, which is nothing but the resource. What kind of resource? Infrastructure, building, utility like power, water, gas, etc. that you require to process the waste. And in today's video, we are going to look at the recovery or the output, and also the recovery rate or the output quality, and that is what we are going to look in today's video. We are going to consider, analyze various factors, variables that you must look into to do a fact check on such claims about the output. Whether you are an entrepreneur or you want to set up a plant in waste management, or even for as a general public, even as a policy maker, or even as an organization, this is something that you should look into, that what is happening and what is being claimed. Let's look at it one by one. Number one, number of outputs. What is the number of output that you're able to recover or extract from the waste? Is it a single output, 2, 3, 4, or is it going to be a double digit? So what is it going to be? Again, this is going to depend on the input raw material, the category within the waste type, and also the technology, the process, machinery. Accordingly, the output is going to vary. If you're going to use plastic as an input, then you will get a single output. Is that the case? That is the case if your input is going to be a pure PET bottle, then you will get a specific output, one or more output. If it is going to be mixed input, then what is going to happen? Or let's take the case of electronic waste. More than 25 elements are there. How much is going to be, how many is going to be the output? Is it going to be 5, 6, 7, 10, or is it going to be more than 15? What is it going to be? So different waste has different constituents. So now the question is, how many of the constituents are you able to recover through your technology, process, or machinery? And if you think, how does it matter? Because it matters. We are using so much of natural resource to manufacture a product. Some are abundant or some are rare. So the question is, out of the waste, how many are we able to recover so that it can be put to use in the ecosystem again? You should not just stop there, just the number of outputs. Let's take the case with European technology. With e-waste, more than 17, 18 is possible in terms of the output. Whereas with the other technologies, it's going to be less than 10 or maybe less than 5. Accordingly, the investment is also going to vary. If you want more output, depending on the constituents, the more is going to be the investment. Then the question comes is it worth recovering that many number of outputs? So you have to do the cost benefit. It's not just going to be the number of outputs, you also have to look at the cost benefit, the economics, whether it is economical to recover all or most of the elements, whether it is metal or non-metal. If it is going to be feasible, what we keep using, right? Suitable, viable, feasible, economical, then it makes sense. Otherwise, there is no point. It is going to make it very difficult for you to sustain and grow the business. Factor number 2, product and byproduct. We saw the number of outputs. More the number of outputs is not equivalent to more revenue. That is not the case. You have to look at, out of the output, how many are product and byproduct. When I say product, it is going to be the core output which is going to give you the revenue, the income to sustain and grow the business. Whereas the byproduct, it may or may not give you the revenue. So let's say that the technology, a process, is claiming that it can give 15 outputs. If 13 are byproducts, then what is the point? So you have to look at what is going to be the core output, the product that is going to make revenue for you, which you can readily sell in the market as a commodity. There is a demand for that output. If you're going to recycle, a recycling technology, then the output is definitely going to be a commodity. Plastic to plastic, metal, e-waste, you're going to recover the metals from it. So because of that reason, the output is going to be the commodity. Whereas in re-engineering, the output is going to be a product. So think about this. Whatever is going to be the core product, you have to look at it. That is what is going to make or break your business. So you can sell it and get money, make revenue out of it. Whereas the byproduct, if you look, if you're able to find a suitable application, then you can easily sell it in the marketplace. Otherwise, what is going to happen is that they will falsely claim you will find sub buyers for this in this industry, that industry, but in actuality you may not be able to get the buyer. So in that case, what is going to happen? And if you're not able to sell it, then you have to dispose it off. Again, for disposing it off, you have to pay money. So on one end, the core product you are selling and you are getting income, whereas the byproduct, in some cases you have to pay for the disposal. So you have to look at it, how many products and byproducts. Factor number 3, the quantity. What is going to be the quantity of the product and byproduct? Let's say that you are feeding 100 kg or 1000 kg of input raw material. So what is going to be the output? It could be a product or a byproduct. What is going to be the output? The classification, the categorization. Let's say that your input raw material, if it is 90% pure, maybe 10% it has something else. So your objective is to recover that 90% majority elements. It could be a metal or a non-metal. So now what is going to be the output quantity in terms of the volume? Are you going to get that 90% volume, or what is it going to be? If you're going to get that 90%, let's say 1000 kgs, 1 ton, and 90% is one type, and if your output is also that 90%, 900 kgs, that means you are recovering 100% of the constituent of that particular constituent through your technology or process. If not 90%, maybe lesser, but what if you're able to get only 30-40%? It is highly possible depending on the technology, process or machinery. Or let's take the case there are multiple constituents. So what is going to be the output quantity? How much are you able to recover? What is the recovery rate? That is again going to make or break the business. The maximum if you are able to recover, then it's going to be a good thing. Otherwise, it's going to put you in trouble. There is one more thing. It's always claimed the recovery rate is 90%, 99%. But then the question comes is it consistent? It's like cooking. Can you produce the same output consistently? Like how for cooking, the same taste, the same texture, same appearance. In the same way, can your technology, process or machinery, will it be able to give the consistent or the same output every time, the same quantity? Is it possible? Again, it is going to depend on the input raw material. So consistency. If not, what are the factors affecting or influencing the quantity, the recovery rate? If you are not able to get it consistently, then you have to be very careful with the technology. You have to see how to address it. If it is changing every time, sometimes you're getting more, sometimes you're getting less, then also you have to look at it like how, even before you purchase the technology or even after you purchase, not only as an entrepreneur, as a business, even as from a sustainability point of view. Why? How? So that you are able to get maximum recovery out of the waste, so that that recovered material, the metal or non-metal, it can be put to use somewhere in the ecosystem. The next factor, it is the output form. What form are you going to get the output? Are you going to get the output in liquid form? Whereas in a liquid, you have your constituent. It could be a liquid polymer, or it could be a metal dissolved in a liquid. Or is it a powder form, which is nothing but a salt form? Or is it going to be in a alloy form? Or is it going to be in a pure solid form? Or is it going to be in a sludge form? So the output, depending on the technology, process or machinery, the output can be in any of the form. And if you're wondering how the output matters, it matters. Depending on the output, the pricing is also going to change. One thing is the quality, the purity, but apart from that, the form also matters. Let's say your output is a liquid form, then you have to get it transported to someone who's going to further process the liquid to recover the elements, or they're going to use in some other application. So there is going to be a cost involved. So accordingly, the pricing will be determined. Or let's say that you're giving in a salt form, so they have to process it further. So what is going to be the pricing? Or if it is going to be a pure solid form, then you can sell it openly in the commodity market. Or let's take that you have an alloy form. Alloy is nothing but a fusion of different elements. So in that case, what is going to be the pricing? How exactly it is going to be used? Again, that is going to depend on the composition, the structure. Or is it going to be in a slurry form, like a paste? So what is it going to be? So this is something that you have to look into. So depending on the output form, you can classify them as a finished product or a semi-finished product. A finished product is something that you can readily sell in the open commodity market, whereas a semi-finished product or semi-finished goods is something which requires further processing. That means it is going to take a little bit more resource and time to process it. The next factor is the composition, which is nothing but the purity. We saw the recovery rate, which is out of that how much are you able to recover. Then now it is about the purity. If whatever is the output, the core output, if it is going to be 99% pure, then you can readily sell in the commodity market. It could be plastic, it could be metal, it could be paper, or it could be from the fabric. So you can readily sell in the market. But what if it is not pure? It has some impurities. It is mixed with something else. In that case, what is going to happen? So accordingly, the pricing will be determined. So what are the other constituents? If the other constituents doesn't matter or is not going to affect the application, then people might pay for it, buy it. But if the other constituent, if it is going to make it difficult for them to use it in their application, then people may not be interested, because that is affecting their manufacturing quality. So according to the purity level, the pricing is going to get determined, the grade is going to get set. So you have to, if it is mixed, if the purity is lesser, you need not worry. Yes, it's going to affect the price, but then you have to find a suitable application, a suitable buyer who might be interested in that particular composition and use it in their product or in their manufacturing process. Or if you're having a very tough time in selling it, then you can try to fix it, remove the impurity, make it much more purer. So you have to find such solution to make it in the pure form. And that is one more thing over here. In some cases, what is going to happen is, in the alloy form, you will, let's say that you have 99% copper or 98% copper, and 0.2 or 3% there might be gold in it. Now the question is, if let's say that it's a huge volume, the gold is going to be so much. But now the question is it worth recovering that 0.2 or 3% gold from that such a mass alloy? Or even you can't say an alloy, it's in a pure form. Is it worth it? So you have to do the cost benefit. How much time are you going to take? How much resources required to process or recover? Is it worth doing it? So you have to consider it. If it is going to be feasible, viable, then you can do it. Otherwise, there is no point in you spending resource time to recover that 0.2 or 3% gold. So next time you have to make sure that, or fix or fine tune your process so that that 0.2 or 0.3% doesn't end up in that metal. So you have to look into it. The next most crucial factor is the capacity and time. What is going to be the capacity of the machine? How much input it is going to take, and how much of the output it can produce, and how much time it is going to take to produce each of the output. And if you are thinking, why does it matter? This is something I've talked about in the previous video. It could be a semi-manual machine, a semi-automatic, a fully automated machine, or it could be a simple batch process, a continuous process. It could be in any of the permutation and combination. But what is going to happen is, depending on the duration, the time to produce the output, it is going to affect your cycle. Let's take that your cycle time is lesser in terms of producing the crucial core output. In that case, what will happen is that you can recover it, sell it in the marketplace, get your money, you can buy more material and process it. So in that way, you are quickly increasing, ramping up in terms of the production. But what if your output, it is going to take weeks, months? Then what is going to happen in that case? In that case, you have to plan according to that, your whole cycle, your financials, because you won't get the complete output within a month. It is going to happen on the subsequent month. So accordingly, you have to plan your activities. So you have to look at it, number of outputs. It need not be the case that only in a single machine or a particular machine you will get the complete that particular output. Need not be. You can get the output in multiple ways. So you have to think what fraction, what quantity. You have to consider, analyze what factor you are getting it, what percentage of the crucial core output you are getting at what point of time, what duration, and how much resource required for that activity. So this is going to be the most crucial when it comes to waste management, and people generally miss it. We all focus on the output, the number of outputs, the output quantity, the purity. We hardly consider the time duration. If you go for the European technology, the American technology, yes, they will give you a very solid time that this is going to be the TAT time, the turnaround time, this is what is going to be the process time, the cycle time. But whereas with the Chinese technology, there is no guarantee, because there are lots of ifs and buts which is going to affect the operation. So that in turn is going to affect the duration, the cycle time, which is eventually going to make a big blow into the business operation, the financials. And you also have to consider what I have discussed in the previous video in terms of resource, how much power, gas, water, fuel, manpower is going to be required for this operation. Is it suitable, viable, feasible, economical? You have to consider that. So don't merely believe that this is what you're getting, because there are a lot of such videos out there on the internet or claims that this much you will get out of the waste. Yes, there is no doubt about it. Those are not false claims, but again, you have to understand that is only for that particular input raw material. Is there a guarantee that you will get the same quantum of material every time, the same quality of the input waste raw material? There is no such guarantee. Again, when we are importing machine, we won't be able to test the raw material which is available in the local market. So we will test the raw material which is there in that particular country. So again, that raw material definitely will not be the same as what we getting in the local market or the place where you're going to set up the machinery. And we definitely, that is a big mistake people make. And the next thing what they generally miss is that they will try to look at the demo, the product demo, the machinery demo. But look at it, you will just look at demo for 1 or 2 hours, but in reality you will be running the machine for hours, 8 hours, 12 hours, for a whole day. You have to understand, you have to see, if you run that machine for 8 to 12 hours, what is going to be the impact, what is going to be the performance, the recovery rate when you continuously run the machine. The machine will run normally for 1 or 2 hours, but after that, if you run it continuously, then you will understand where exactly the problem arises. This is something that we often miss, and in some cases, due to certain constraints, we look the demo in a lab scale. In a lab scale, I am 100% sure that you will get the maximum recovery, the recovery rate, the purity. But when you try to extend it to a commercial level, to a bigger machine, that is not happening. You can look at it any place, you can talk with any scientist, experts, that is what they will tell you. On a lab scale, it is going to be successful. You will get all the outputs, the purity, the quality. But on a bigger scale, due to a lot of constraints, the chemical composition, or it could be the process, the cycle time, the various other factors, you won't be getting the same output as a lab scale. That is what is happening. So you have to consider all these factors in terms of the recovery and the recovery rate. So next time when you're going to see, hear or read anything about such, look at from these factors, then you will know the ground reality, what is the factual information, whether it is a fake news or whether it is a fact. With that, we are closing today's video. I'll see you tomorrow with another video as part of the Waste Type Wednesday.